Download a free audiobook with your 30-day trial.
Hello, welcome to Excelling Kids and Family page. It's good to see you. We are running a bit behind schedule today. We do apologize for coming late. We've had some technical issues, but we are glad to be able to come live. I trust all of our Excelling Kids and families are doing very, very well. If you are joining us for the first time, we are the Excelling Kids Club, and we are here to support our parents and the guardians, teachers to raise an excellent generation. And it's a passion that we do not take for granted, and we're always so excited to come your way. So please let somebody know we are live a little bit late, but I'm sure it's going to be very well worth it, very well worth it. So without wasting too much time, we are going to make a start. So if you can please call on your beloved Excelling Kids to get themselves ready, that would be great, while I invite our loved ones and their children also to join us. I trust that you've all had a good day today. You had a good weekend as well, and a brand new week. I trust that it's going very well. As we get our children and our teenagers ready, our beloved Excelling Kids ready, I would like to again show my appreciation and how grateful I am to all of the Excelling Kids and families, everybody, each and every one of you who has been supporting us. And our print book is here. Our print book is here. Last week, Monday, was the first time I had a copy in my hand. And today, a few more copies were delivered to my address. And again, it's amazing. It's amazing. So I encourage our parents to make sure that you grab a copy for your children. You grab a copy for your children, and you'll go a long way to bless them. You'll go a long way to bless them. Thank you so much for joining us. So we are going to make a start. As you all know, especially those that watch us last week, we have been dealing with the topic about laziness. About laziness, and today is the part 2 of the series on laziness that we have been dealing with. And even for me as a teacher, I've been really blessed. There's a lot of things that I've had to revisit, and being able to revisit it has really helped me and made me a lot more active, I must say, than before the lesson started. I do hope that that is the case for our kids. That is the case for our kids. So last week we discussed laziness, and we talked about what it was. We looked about the 3 different types. So one of the things that we said was that laziness, as indolence, is the unwillingness for a person to use their energy or to get a work done, even though that person is capable, even though that they are able to do it, they still refuses to do it because they can't be asked, because they feel bored. So it's like their unwillingness to do the work that is required. So we said the best thing to do is to spot laziness and stop it in your life. If you see that you are becoming lazy, the things that you are doing is showing a sign of a lazy person, you need to recognize it straight away and put a stop to it. So today, we also realize that it's so important that we get rid of laziness, because it can have a bad effect on many areas of our lives, and that is not what we want. We don't want that bad effect of laziness on our lives. And that is why at such a young age it's important that we make sure that we are diligent which is the opposite of laziness. We make sure that we are hardworking. We make sure that everything that we are doing, we are putting our effort, our energy in it, and most importantly, we are doing it on time. We are not putting things off. And procrastination, as we said, procrastinating, as we said last week, the mother of, or the sister of laziness. Right? Okay. So today I came across this story about a lazy little bird. A lazy little bird. I've got it the other way around. Pardon me on my description. So a lazy little bird. Now, there once was a little bird who was very nice, but very, very lazy. So this bird is described as a nice bird, at the same time, very, very lazy. I wanted to see if I could change the, okay. Please bear with me. Okay. Right. So every time this bird, every time his friends went in the morning to wake him up, he would always say, "Oh, give me 1 more minute. I'm coming. I'm going to get up. Give me 1 more minute. I'm going to get up." But they realized that he was always getting up very, very late. Each time there was a job to be done, he kept putting it off until literally there was no time. There was no time for him to do the job at hand. Now, people kept telling him that you are so lazy, but guess the response that he would give to them each time they said that? He said, "Oh, nah, there's no problem. I just take a bit longer to get around to doing things. It just takes me longer. I'm not lazy." So he never admitted that he was lazy. He just saw himself as somebody who took a little longer to get things done. But in reality, he was a lazy bird. So the story goes on to say that in the land that this little bird lived, they had a custom, and that custom was that in the summertime they would take their time flying and playing. But when autumn came, they had to start preparing for the big journey ahead of them. And as usual, our lazy little bird kept putting it off. He said to everyone, "Oh no, there's plenty of time. I'll get ready. You watch me." So every time they reminded him, "Little bird, we need to get prepared. Autumn is coming, winter will be coming soon, and we are going to set off on the journey. So we need to get prepared." His response was, "Oh, I've got plenty of time. We've got plenty of time. There's nothing to worry about. Don't worry, I will be ready. Don't worry, I will be ready." And that's all his response. That's what he kept saying to them, that don't worry, I'm going to be ready. But guess what? The day came for them to make the big journey. And as usual, his friends went to wake him up. Okay, so if Pastor Augustine, if you can put for me the lazy little bird so that I can put the banner right, because I've got the words mixed up on there. I'm trying to type up at the same time talk. So I'm glad to see you. Welcome on board, Emmanuel. Good to see you. So as the story goes, what I wanted you to put there, Pastor Augustine, if you can, is the lazy little bird, so I can change the banner. Now, each time the day came for them to make that big journey. When that day came, his friends, as usual, went to wake him up, but he kept saying, "Oh, give me few more minutes. I'm going to wake up. I'm going to get up." But he didn't. And then before he realized, he had woken up late, and all of the birds, and we are talking about thousands of birds, they've all flown away. They've all gone and set off on this journey, going to find a warmer place, a warmer land, to keep themselves warm, because winter was coming and it was going to be very, very cold. Now, when the lazy little bird, realized that everybody had left and he was alone, you can imagine, he was very, very, very sad. He became very, very, very sad. And he cried and cried and cried. But he realized that it was his own fault. And if he was going to survive the winter alone, he needed to do something. Just sitting down and crying and being, feeling sorry for himself alone is not going to solve his problem. So he began to look for a place that he can build his nest so that he can be warm throughout winter. After a long, hard search for a place, he finally found a place in between a rock. Then he went looking for sticks to build his nest. Once again, lazy bird began to look for sticks, and he was able to gather enough to build his nest. Next, he looked for fruits and berries, as much as he can gather, so that when the winter came, he will be able to feed on those. The story says that he even caved a hole. He even, made a hole in the cave so that he can store some water to keep him going in those months. Another thing that he learned to do was to cut down, or he learned to be able to live by a little amount of food and water, so that he did not finish all his food before the winter season ended. So the lazy little bird had now become a hardworking bird. He realized that if he was going to survive, if he was going to do well without everybody around, he needed to work. He had to let go of laziness. He had to stop being lazy. So the winter months came, and the lazy little bird survived. He survived. So as the winter passed and spring began, his friends and all the other birds returned. They started coming back. So when they came, they were so surprised, but they were also very glad to find the little bird alive. They were very glad to find him alive. And most, especially, they were surprised that, wow, the amount of effort that he had put into building his own nest, keeping enough food in there and enough water to keep through winter. They were so impressed by his achievement that, guess what? He was put in charge of the next trip. So he learned his lesson. During those times when he was all lonely, he realized that his laziness has cost him very dearly. And if he was to live a better life, if he was to have a much better life, he had to be a person who was hardworking, who was diligent. So the lazy bird story ended very well, even though he had his challenges. But the most important thing is that he did not stay in his laziness, because if he had, as we learned last week, laziness can kill. If he had stayed in his laziness, we all know that he would not have survived the winter months. So what lesson can we learn from the lazy little bird story? And the lazy little bird story was found, I found this on the website called storiesforkids.com. So storiesforkids.com, you can find more stories like that on there. Now, what more lessons can we learn from the lazy little bird story? We can learn from his story the 5 characteristics of a lazy person. So we realize that laziness, nobody is born with laziness. Nobody is born with laziness. it's a habit or an attitude that people learn when as they are growing up. So nobody should feel like, oh, I'm just lazy, I'm just naturally lazy. No one was born as a lazy person. People developed it as a bad habit, and the good news is that you can unlearn it, you can stop it, you can replace it with the good habit of being somebody who loves working hard, who loves getting his work, a good work done. So that is a good lesson we can learn from the lazy little bird, that we can change. If we find ourselves that we are becoming lazy, we can change, we can put a stop to that. Now let's look at the 5 characteristics of a lazy person. So what shows that a person is lazy? Number 1, the person can't usually get started in the morning, even though the person went to bed early, because there are times where you might go to bed late, and so it is expected that you'll find it difficult to wake up early. But if it becomes a situation whereby even though the person goes to bed early, they are still struggling every day to get out of bed in the mornings, it's a sign. Just like the lazy little bird, he was somebody who was always struggling to get started in the morning. And Proverbs, I love the book of Proverbs, it talks so much about laziness. It says that in chapter 19 verse 15, it says laziness brings on deep sleep, and the shiftless go hungry. The shiftless go hungry. So laziness can make a person very, very sleepy. You can't get started in the morning. And if you are not active and moving, you grow with that habit. And as an adult, you cannot find yourself, work. You cannot be trusted and diligent and hardworking. Then be assured that such an adult is going to be hungry. So that's a sign that if a person is all the time feeling lazy in the morning to get work done for no reason, it's a sign that is a lazy person. Number 2, the person hardly finishes anything. So the person will begin working, and then halfway through they give up, they are bored, they are very easily distracted. Again, that is a sign of laziness. Yes, they lack motivation, and they procrastinate a lot. Thank you so much, my George family. God bless you all. So yes, number 2, the person hardly finishes anything. And in Proverbs chapter 12 verse 27, it says that the lazy do not roast any game, but the diligent feed on the riches of the hand. So this verse is saying that a lazy person back in those days, that's what the Bible is using as an example. Back in the days where people had to go and hunt for their food in the forest, a lazy person will go run around and have a bit of fun, get the meat that he needs. But when he gets home, he is so lazy to prepare the meal that is meant to give him all the nutrients and fill him up with all the good things that he has catch from his game or the hunting that he went to. Now, number three example of a lazy person. The person is full of excuses. The person is full of excuses, and the person blames everyone and everything but themselves. So once you begin to see that in any person, you begin to realize that that is a sign that the person is becoming lazy. Or even in yourself, if you find yourself that you are giving excuses when you have work that needs doing, and your mind begin to think of all the reasons why you can't do it, all the reasons why you will not be able to succeed at it, it could be that your mind is tricking you to be lazy. And so you need to spot it and what? Stop it, as we learned last week. So another sign of a lazy person is a person who is full of excuses and always blaming everything and everyone else but themselves. And in the example of the lazy little bird, he could have blamed everybody. He could have said, "Oh, my friends, you didn't wake me hard enough. You didn't yell enough. You didn't shout enough. Oh, it's all your fault. If I die, it's your fault that nobody cared for me. I'm only a little bird." He could have been full of excuses, but thank God that he came to his senses and realized that he was the only person to be blamed in the situation, and he got to work, and his hard work paid off. Now, number four sign of a lazy person, a sign of a lazy person, number 4, is the person seems to be unlucky. The person seemed to be unlucky, or seemed to be getting a lot of like bad breaks. When things like that begin to happen, the person needs to sit up and begin to really look at themselves, look at their lifestyle, look at their attitude, look at their habits, and begin to, begin to look at what is in their life or the things that they are doing that might be contributing to them being unlucky or having so much trouble around them. It could be that they are supposed to take certain actions, but they are not taking them, and they are sitting there inactive. And if you are not taking any action when they are due, you are not going to get the results that you need. And so you might look at your life, or the person, such a person might look at themselves, and they might feel, "Oh, nothing works out for me. Oh, nobody, helps me," and this and that. So another sign is, especially if the person seems to be out of everybody around them, this seem to be such an unlucky person, it could be a sign that that person is in some ways are being lazy. They are not doing the things that they are supposed to do. Now, number 5, the last sign that a person is becoming lazy. You find that the person talks so much. "Oh, I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to get this done." So there's a lot of talks, but very little done, very little achieved. Because as they will say that talking is cheap. Even as adults, even my own self, sometimes you say a lot of things that, "Oh, I can do this, I will do this." But when it comes to actually doing it, you find yourself that, let me wait a little bit, or maybe tomorrow. You start putting it off, and before you realize, laziness has taken over. And I love this Proverbs. It says, Proverbs chapter 14 verse 23. It says that all hard work brings a profit, but mere talks lead to only poverty. All hard work brings profit, but mere talks lead only to poverty. So the fact that you are saying that, "Oh, I'm going to get this done, I'm going to be this, I'm going to be that," in the future, you are dreaming big and all that is great, and you are talking about it to yourself and to people you can trust. But if you are not taking the actions, the dreams are not going to come true. In as much as we encourage ourselves, we encourage our excelling kids to dream big, we must also encourage you that it comes with hard work. You must add the work to the dreams, the work to the desires that you have, to all the things that you have you've talked about to accomplish. you must add the hard work to it. You must do the work that goes with it to achieve it. So we have learned so much from the lazy little bird today. And don't forget about these 5 characteristics or 5 signs that we have shared with you. If you missed any part of it, you just joined us. We are talking about the lazy little bird story, and we have learned so much from it. Please, you can go back and watch it again. So this brings our lesson to a close tonight. And one thing that I will ask you to do is, it will really help you that after every lesson, if you are able to share with your parents, with your siblings, you can even post a comment on there, one particular action or any particular session of this lesson that really touch you. If you can share that with your parents, that would be great. What you have learned today, that actually will help this lesson stick with you much better, and it will actually help you to take action, especially if you add to it what action you are going to take. Maybe the signs that we shared with you, the characteristics that we shared with you, maybe not all of them applies to you, but one applies to you. You can still make improvements on that, and you can work on yourself. So thank you so much for joining us. We trust that you have been blessed. And we are also reminding our parents and children, you can also remind your parents, if they are not watching with you, that the hard copies of the Friendship Choices books, the Friendship Choices book is here, and you can have one in your library. You can have one on your bookshelf, your own copy. That will go a long way to bless you, and it will go a long way to bless us too. So God richly bless you. And for our parents, God willing, tomorrow the hard copies, we are launching the print version tomorrow online. Facebook, my publisher, and other authors, we had an interview, so it would be a good one to have you join us live or watch on Facebook. I will share it on this page and on my profile as well. So thank you so much for your support. May the Lord be with each and every one of you. My prayer is that this week you will excel in everything that you do. In Jesus' mighty name, amen. So have a wonderful time. Thank you so much, Emmanuel, for joining us. Thank you. I'm really glad that you enjoyed the lesson. Thank you. Share with your parents what you have learned. Share with your brothers and sisters, even your friends at school. Tell them to tell their parents that every Monday we are here with excelling kids and we are learning so much. So thank you so much, and may God richly bless you. May God bless you. So yeah, thank you so much. Friendship Choices, the hard copies are available on Amazon. They are. Thank you, and may God bless you. We'll come your way one more time next week when we finalize the laziness topic. Don't miss it. We are going to share with you tips on how to overcome laziness, how to become diligent, and you will be so much blessed. Thank you. Have a wonderful night for those in the UK or even in Africa, and those in the United States. Have a wonderful day, and around the world, whatever time it is, have a good day. May God richly bless you. Bye.